internal mic is the one that's working.
Oh, okay.
So you have to kind of select.
Just, I'll just record it.
We're going to start right at 11, so we're just going to be starting really soon. Why aren't you sure?
30 years longest church. You won, me. Exactly. Yeah. We're breaking our tradition. We don't have candy, we haven't practiced. I'm not happy, right?
Watch out for
Don't say it.
I found my
You got my contacts in that. I need to get progressives. So I'm like, you're great at that. Hello, sir.
Okay, yeah, you're
How are you? Excellent.
And then you have water. Yeah, thank you. Okay, hey guys, are you guys ready to go? Okay, we're going to start. Hey guys.
Good to go. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today at Poppy Plaza for the groundbreaking of the Sunnyside Flood Barrier. I'm Amy Stansky, Project Manager for the Flood Barrier, and I will be your MC for today's event. Just a few housekeeping items I would like to mention. The washroom is located inside the building behind us here through the door that's open. We have water available in the tent if anybody needs it. And if you hear 3 loud horn blasts, please move to the muster point, which is located at the door of the building behind us. In attendance today, we are thrilled to have Mayor Gondak, Councillor Wong, and Michael Thompson, General Manager Infrastructure Services, to speak about this project. Once the speaking portion of the event wraps up, we will invite everyone to follow us down the path to Soldiers Memorial for the official groundbreaking photo and to get a closer look at some of the improvements we have planned. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to say how honored I am to be on Treaty 7 territory today. The city of Calgary, where the Bow and Elbow rivers meet, was historically a place of confluence, where the sharing of resources, ideas, and opportunities naturally come together. In many Indigenous cultures, water is seen as a living entity with its own spirit. And as we embark on the Sunnyside Flood Barrier Project, we honor our responsibility to safeguard this vital resource and uphold the legacy of good stewardship shown by the Indigenous people of the land. We appreciate and acknowledge that we are gathered on the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, made up of the Siksika, Piikani, Omska Bibigani, and Ganai First Nations. The Iyethka Nakota Wiskatabe First Nations, comprised of the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nations, and the Tsutana First Nation. The City of Calgary is also homeland to the Northwest Métis, including Métis District 5 and 6. We acknowledge all Indigenous people who have made Calgary their home. Please join me in welcoming our first speaker, Mayor Gondek, to speak about the 2013 flood, future flood protection, and community advocacy.
Thank you. Oki Daranastada Ambawastich, Tanse, and good morning, everyone. These are greetings to you in the mother languages of the Indigenous peoples who stewarded these lands at the confluence of the Bow and Elbow Rivers for generations before many of us came to settle here. And thank you for joining us today for this groundbreaking of the long-awaited Sunnyside Flood Barrier. This critical infrastructure spans the north side of the Bow River, offering protection extending from 14th Street Northwest to west of Center Street. Beyond safeguarding our city from high-risk flood events, this work is also going to enhance the area with improved pathways and gathering spaces. I don't think any of us is ever going to forget that moment in time in 2013 when this community and others faced a flood that was described as a once-in-a-century event. Homes and businesses were submerged, and a great emotional toll was taken on residents and all of Calgary. As we picked up the pieces and we rebuilt these communities, it was crystal clear that we needed to make a strong commitment to upgrading our infrastructure to prevent this level of devastation from ever happening again. And today, we are fulfilling that commitment. What does it mean to have a flood barrier capable of withstanding a 1-in-100-year flood event? It means peace of mind. It means knowing that we have taken decisive action to protect people, homes, businesses, and beloved community spaces. And while we know that Calgarians are quick to act when challenges arise, this barrier will minimize the need for individual response and provide security in a way that is proactive and protects us long into the future. I am also extending heartfelt gratitude to the community-based Emergency Planning and Response Committee members for their diligent work, and to the Hillhurst Sunnyside Community Association for their unwavering advocacy over the years. Your concerns and dedication have been integral, and your voices have mattered both in formal and in informal settings. I've had the chance to engage with many residents and active community members at events like Neighbor Day and the Bow to Bluff Corridor announcement last year. My conversations and my relationships with you reveal that you are good humans who have great ideas and such a sense of commitment to the betterment of this city. So to all community members and committee members involved, you have fought for this community for years, and today we stand much stronger because of all of your efforts. 2013 ignited a determination within us to build a safer and more resilient city together. The Sunnyside Flood Barrier is a promise to future generations who will undoubtedly face another 1-in-100-year flood that we did everything in our power to protect them from. And as we look to the future, we cannot forget the past leadership that has gotten us here. Former City Councillor Drew Farrell deserves a great deal of recognition for her unwavering advocacy and commitment to flood mitigation within our city. To close, thank you to our city teams, thank you to our contractor and trades partners, and thank you to all the community advocates. Today, we celebrate all of you as we strengthen our city. And with that, I'd like to pass things over to Councillor Wong, who carries on the tradition of hard work in representing Ward 7.
Thank you, Mayor Gondek. Thank you for everybody for being here. Thrilled to be here today as we break the ground on the Sunnyside Flood Barrier Project. It's a crucial initiative and a safety protection for Sunnyside, Hillhurst, and the Kensington Business District. As many of you know, 11 years ago, on a fateful day of June 21st, Calgary experienced the floodwaters that we've never seen before since 1897. The Bow River flowed and crested 2,400 cubic meters per second, which is 8 times the regular flow. Sadly to say, we lost one life. We also had about $6 billion of financial loss and property damage across southern Alberta. The evacuees whose homes were flooded, particularly a lot of those in Hillhurst and Sunnyside, faced trauma, loss, and either rebuilding or permanent loss of their homes. Flooding disrupted our businesses, and I know when we talked about the flooding, not only in the Hillhurst Sunnyside, but all throughout the downtown and the Bowness area, there were a lot of disruptions that we all experienced. This damaged critical infrastructure that led to power outages that also affected many communities, 26 communities overall, 110,000 people. Nobody suffered more than the folks in Hillhurst Sunnyside and the businesses. We realized that the floodwaters, both from the rising waters in the river and the overland flood damages that came from the escarpment above, was certainly the contributing factors that no other community had to deal with. The city is undergoing to resolve the problem, both with the drainage problem with the Upper Plains Plateau work that's pretty much done, should be finished next year, but also at the same time we are now about ready to kick off our new project. That is the Sunnyside Flood Barrier project, significant to design to protect the residents and business of Sunnyside and Kensington from the devastating effects of the flood. Most of the capital works will be done along Memorial Drive and the park pathway. And I know a lot of people have reached out to us, particularly about the park pathway, the protection of our trees and the natural environment, and the restoration of the pathway, which most people enjoy, whether it be cycling or scootering or walking. The city's goal is to ensure that the community is resilient and prepared for future flood events, safeguarding our lives, homes, and our infrastructure. When we talk about the specific area, Memorial Drive is Calgary's most cherished corridor in terms of history, location, proximity to the Bow River. Its relationship with both the community and the drive and to the community of Calgary is recognized by the fact that after World War II, a number of individuals came forward to plant trees for each of the fallen soldiers of the Great War. The hope was that living memorials would bring solace to the grieving families who did not have a grave to visit. We will continue to honor that once the project is completed. The flood barrier will create robust protection against future flooding, and the barrier will be approximately 2.4 kilometers long. I am going to cease here and turn the tables over to Michael Thompson, who is going to give you more of an infrastructure conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wong, and good morning. I'm thrilled to be here this morning as we break ground on the Sunnyside Flood Barrier project. This investment will continue to improve the resilience of our city. The Hillhurst Sunnyside community has always been strong, and the collaboration between residents, businesses, and the community association groups has been instrumental in pushing this investment forward. This barrier is more than a piece of infrastructure. It represents the community's unified voice advocating for safety, longevity, and well-being of the neighborhood. The city has worked with the Sunnyside Hillhurst Community Association and their committees, such as the Emergency Planning and Response Committee and the Sunnyside Brightening Committee, to receive input and feedback on the barrier and the public realm design. I would like to take a moment to thank Stantec for their tireless work on the design to ensure that this flood barrier is both functional while also providing enhanced public services and spaces along Memorial Drive. This design will create a more vibrant, connected, and green community space for all Calgarians to enjoy. I would also like to thank PCL Construction Management for their collaboration and dedication to ensuring this flood barrier will be constructed safely. And I would like to thank the entire City of Calgary team who has worked tirelessly on this project for a number of years to ensure its successful completion and that it will meet all of the community's needs. The construction of the Sunnyside Flood Barrier is anticipated to take approximately 2 years, with several phases to minimize disruption where possible. It's crucial to understand that while there will be short-term inconveniences, the long-term benefits will significantly outweigh them. During construction, there will be changes in traffic patterns and temporary road closures. We're working closely with the project team to ensure these impacts are communicated well in advance. And I'd like to thank everyone in the community, the residents, the businesses, and commuters through the area for their patience while we complete this important work. The Sunnyside Flood Barrier Project and the public realm improvements represent a significant step forward for the community. Through collaboration, we are ensuring a safer, more resilient, and vibrant future for Hillhurst Sunnyside. Let's continue to work together, stay informed, and support each other through this transformative investment. I'd now like to call up Amy to carry on the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. We would now like to present members of the E-Park Committee with certificates of recognition for their dedication and commitment to ensuring this flood barrier project is a success and can protect these historic neighborhoods, this cherished corridor from future river flooding. Can Mayor Gondek and Councillor Wong please come back to this podium? Or do you guys want to stand like in the front maybe? Sure. Yeah, maybe. Thank you. The first certificate is going to Charlie Lund, who is the chair of the E-Park Committee.
Just before we move forward, just want to say a couple words about Charlie before we go further on this, and that's simply to say that throughout the start of the exercise, and this goes back many, many years, Charlie's been an outstanding representative of the community. As a representative of the community, he's fought for not only protection of flood, but ensured that the if I can say, the technical specifications of what we're looking for is held to the highest standard. We've talked about this being a 100-year flood protection. There are many people in the community asking, is 100 years good enough? Should we actually make this perhaps even a 200-year flood protection? Again, I just want to say credit to Charlie and to the community for advocating for the strong technical standards that this brings. So thank you, Charlie.
Okay, I'd also like to call up Brian Bass, Richard Bolt, Pat Jans, Reg Jans, and Peggy McDougall to come up.
We'll do a group photo with them too.
Yeah.
Get everybody up. Everybody back up here. We need photo property since we messed that up. So please go.
Charlie?
Keep going.
You guys go to the center, please.
Keep going.
Oh, go in the center.
We'll bookend you. Okay. There we go. Should I take this?
It's good.
I'll tighten it down.
I like the one they call us perfect.
So we'll now take 5 minutes of questions. Yeah.
Okay.
We got it? Hopefully it leaves. Okay, if it falls, it falls.
A question on a lot of people's minds are why did it take 10 years to build this community and communities also face those years. So I was curious why now?
So one of the reasons why this project has taken 10, 11 years since the flood to have groundbreaking is that we had the first few years post flood, we were doing the flood mitigation measures assessment to determine what were the best flood mitigation options for Calgary, including structural and non-structural options, upstream reservoirs, property level regulation. And so the Sunnyside Flood Barrier project actually didn't kick off until 2018, coming out of those first years of post-flood. And then we went through a couple different rounds of project evolution to ensure that this could meet the community's needs, including determining the final level of service and also ensuring that this was a barrier that could integrate environmentally friendly way and protect as many trees and environment features as possible. Do you want me to start? Yeah.
Happy to start. Can I
Okay.
turn it over to you?
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm happy to start, but Amy really is the expert with all the technical answers who you'll want to hear from. But I would just say that as projects like this are designed and developed, we really take construction staging and impacts to the community into consideration. And so really appreciate all of the community's patience, businesses, residents, and commuters going through the area as we deliver projects like this. But I'll turn it over to Amy to run over the specifics about impacts coming up.
So we will be kicking off phase 1 construction imminently next week, and that will involve a couple different areas of construction, both on the west side and the east side of the project. That work is expected to take into the fall and will be the first stage, and then over the winter we'll be completing the rest of the stage, the sequencing of the project, and then we will share with the public what the future stages are. One of the reasons why we do construct in sequence is to ensure that we can maintain as much traffic and pathway availability as possible. So by staging the project, that allows us to keep roads open while other roads are closed and keep certain pathways available. So that is one of the reasons why we're doing construction sequencing that way. And it's quite a tight corridor. It's 2.4 kilometers, but it's in a very constrained space. So we have to be very thoughtful how we work it out to ensure that, like I said, everything can remain open as possible and also just in the natural stages of construction.
Not sure if this is for kind of overall we have enabling works happening for the Green Line downtown, and of course the flyover work at the same time. So there's quite a few things happening when it comes to getting folks in and out of the downtown along this stretch. So how does the city go about minimizing impacts given there are several projects on the go along these major commuter routes into the downtown? So the question really was around how do we coordinate projects together as we're looking at an area, not just one project, but all projects across the area. And so we have a group from a traffic perspective and a pedestrian and pathway perspective that looks at coordinating all of those projects together. So we're sequencing all of these projects to really try and minimize disruption across the city. We appreciate, again, everyone's patience as we do these projects. As Amy said, we stage our projects differently, not just to minimize disruption here, but as we're thinking about corridors for people moving across the city. Earlier this year, we were out talking about all of the projects that we have going on in the downtown area, and we've really been thoughtful about the application of those projects and the staging of them to really try and minimize disruption. We do know that when you're building roadway projects in Calgary, we have one season, which is construction season. The other season's winter, I guess. That's a joke that no one laughed at. But we thank everyone for your patience as we build these projects. And please do know we are coordinating everything. And thank you for Calgarians as we do all these investments to make the city a better place.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Is this going to be enough on the flood mitigation side, given the future government's
So I think it's really important to recognize that as well as upstream, there's work that we can do in the city. And so we have made it our priority and our responsibility to take the actions that we can. We continue to work with the provincial government to make sure that upstream solutions are also in play and able to be executed upon as quickly as possible. But for us, this was critical work. And I can tell you a couple of years ago when we were quite concerned about runoff coming from the mountains, we took action at that point too and put up a temporary berm in case there was going to be more flooding. So not only have we started the full infrastructure works, but we have the contingency available to us to protect this community and others in any type of a flood event.
Tim with CTV. Maybe for you, maybe for Michael, maybe both. What's your message to residents of Hillhurst, Sunnyside, who are waiting in line is now be patient for another 2 instances?
The residents of Hillhurst, Sunnyside are incredible people. Their commitment to community and to the city is unmatched. Frankly, they have taken the time to volunteer on committees, to attend sessions, to provide us with feedback, to share with us not only their lived experience, but also to be the voice of people who couldn't necessarily come forward. Without them, without their involvement, none of this work could have been done. So this is a testament to this community and how engaged and involved they are. And I know they have been patient for a very long time, and I think they will agree with the fact that we wanted to get this right. We wanted to make sure that this was the best possible outcome for them, and they're here today to celebrate with us that we are kicking off this amazing work. And again, if it wasn't for them, this would not be the complete project it is.
Mike, we got time for just a couple more questions. CDC anywhere?
I wouldn't mind using that follow-up actually for you. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into planning and design. Was there any world in which this would have got done sooner?
Thanks for the question. So the question was really around timing and how long it takes to deliver projects like this. And the mayor hit the nail on the head. These projects take longer when we're having significant engagement with interested and invested communities like Hillhurst, Sunnyside. And so we will take the amount of time it takes to make sure we're getting these projects right. And I think when we see the final product of this project, it's not just a flood barrier. It's about building the community with great public realm, great places, and we're excited to see the outcome.
Thank you. Mike, Fire?
I can take that. Any time that the federal or provincial government make announcements that there's funding available for critical things like public transit, you can bet that we will be looking at the terms and conditions and applying. I don't know yet how it is that we will be making that application because we still have to understand the full scope and magnitude of what they're offering to us. But absolutely, we'll be taking advantage of tapping into federal money. We are the economic engine of this country. And because of us, there are many, many tax dollars that flow to the federal government. And I'd be very interested in having those returned to our city.
Anybody else have a question for?
I just want to know maybe for the mayor, maybe in terms of cost there, when this all said and done, how much are we looking at here?
I'm going to turn it over to Amy. She's the expert on the full project here.
Yeah, so the question that just came was about what's the cost of the project. Is that correct? Yeah, so the cost of the budget for the project is an estimated $50 million.
And Amy, when can we expect the plan? Another question.
Effects that residents might have.
So the 2024 construction work is detailed on our website, and that talks about the road closures and the pathway closures that will be experienced in these upcoming months for residents and the traveling public. And then as we develop our construction sequencing for the next years, we'll share those well in advance with the community.